Hey, welcome back. This is Raz in another episode of Can We Talk? Now, I will start off with saying I am not a medical professional. I am not giving medical advice. This is my own personal experience and testimony. And this is for entertainment purposes only. I must say that in this video just so people don't think that any of this is fact. This is just my opinion and my experience only. So, I want to talk to you about diabetes. Now, prior to coming to the Philippines in 2019, I was at risk for diabetes. Last year on Valentine's Day, I was admitted to the hospital here in General Santos City. Um, my blood sugar was 365. I had two large sores on my right leg, and for about a week and a half, as the sores developed, I was getting weaker and weaker. And that day, I was going to suggest to my wife that I go see the doctor. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I just got married, we're not even married 4 years, and I think I'm dying. I mean, I really felt that bad. My wife, having witnessed my situation and my deterioration within a week and a half, she had already secured a hospital room for me, and she was trying to figure out how she would suggest to me that I get myself checked out. So she arranged an ambulance for me. I went to the hospital. They took my blood sugar. They admitted me right away. I was sent up to a room. I was put on a antibiotic drip, and I was on that drip for the next 10 days, 24 hours. I mean, it was so bad I couldn't hold my bowels. I was in so much pain. I felt like my inside, my veins were burning. Um, it was something that you wouldn't wish upon your worst enemy. It was that painful. The first thing you go through is the physical pain. Then you go through the psychological aspect of it, going, okay, this is not going to last forever. I just have to put up with this for a little bit. Then you go through a spiritual um, reckoning, challenging why would God uh, allow me to suffer this much? And I had already um, came to terms that I'm here with high blood sugar and dealing with diabetes because of my choosing. It was environmental. Diabetes just does not run in my family. And so I knew it was my choosing. So the next day, the second day I was in the hospital, a guy comes up and says, okay, patient Raspberry. And I go, yes, that's me. He goes, I'm here to take you down for an ultrasound. And I go, but I'm not pregnant. He says, Raspberry, right? I go, yeah. It says ultrasound. I go, I'm a guy. I'm not pregnant. But something that I learned is that ultrasounds aren't just for women that are pregnant. They can scope other parts of the body to see what's going on. So I go down there, and the doctor is prepping me. He asks me about my genealogy, or my genetics, I should say. And I said diabetes does not run in my family. High blood pressure runs in my family. My blood pressure was fine. My all my other levels were fine. It was just my blood sugar. And so he goes on, and as he's examining me, he says that he too is type 2 diabetic. And he says, well, let me give you some advice. He goes, he has cravings for soda from time to time, and he does still drink in moderation soda. But he says, whatever you do, stay away from this one brand. And it's a popular soda. Do not drink their regular. Do not drink their 0 calorie. Do not drink their diet soda. And I said, that's strange that he would be specific to that one brand. Come to find out, it's not really just the sugar, the fructose, the sucrose. There's a whole different type of sugar in the caramel coloring. And that sugar, or those sugars or sweeteners, in that caramel coloring, that is what is so toxic. That is where the real death is. And he says he drinks Sprite. And if he can find it, he drinks Diet Sprite. You know, and if Sprite wants to pay me money for that endorsement, so be it. Um, but I just, that was like a revelation to me, because, this other brand is known worldwide. And, when you think soda, this is the one that you think of. And I was just really blown away by that. So then, day number 3 in the hospital, they come to get me for an x-ray. And so now I'm thinking, an x-ray. Then in my mind, it's like, dang it, I'm about to lose my leg. And inside, I wanted to cry. And I wanted to be strong for my wife. But I had, once again, take responsibility. I'm here because of my habits. And if that's what God has for me, that's what God has for me. And so I go down to x-ray. And so they x-ray my leg. And I go back up to my hospital bed. And the doctor comes in later that day. And he says, well, your x-ray is good. And I said, what were you looking for? And he said, well, with diabetes, it is a disease of the blood and of high sugar, and then it gets into the fat tissue, and from the fat tissue, it starts to spread. But if any part of the diabetes just touches a bone, that's where we have to cut, because it would be safe to assume that that bone is infected, and to try to head it off, we need to cut at that point. And that was scary, because it's like, if it just touches the bone, you just can't, scoop out. It's like, no, we need to cut. And that's from medically what I was led to believe, that that's just to be as safe as possible. And so I was relieved that it hadn't done that. I do have poor circulation in my legs. I do have thrombosis, which is attributed to the poor circulation and the ulceration that are the visible scars on my legs. And, so I have ugly legs right now, lower legs. And not to have the big head, but when I was young, I had some pretty legs. Nice athletic. You could see the cuts, nice big calves and small ankles, and looked like I was a sprinter. But the only thing I'm running to now is the bathroom. I'm 63 years of age. Thank God that I'm still alive and I can give this testimony. But I learned so much about foods, and now I'm going to give my personal warnings. In the Philippines, they eat a lot of rice, and the rice is processed, it's bleached, and it's not the rice that people consumed, say, 40 years ago, and the rice was healthy, because it was still natural. The chemicals that are involved in it um, are harmful to the body. So I stopped eating rice for a very long time, almost a year, and I went to corn rice. And in the US, you guys are probably thinking rice does not come from corn. And you're right. We know corn rice as grits. That's what, most blacks grew up eating when we were small. Grits, oatmeal and grits. So corn rice is what I would eat. And then I learned about all the sugars in food. In the US, there's over 125 names for sugar and sweeteners in foods. What happened to the days when you could go get a hamburger and the hamburger was just lettuce, tomato, beef, bread, just real bread, um, and simple ketchup, simple mayonnaise, the mayonnaise that used to expire in the sun, and mustard. Today's mayonnaise doesn't matter, refrigerated or not. It's all oil and other chemicals. It's not gonna go bad. Um, the beef burger that we used to eat has so many fillers in it and has flavors. These flavors have sugars in it, and it's supposed to be beef. How difficult is it to take a cow, slaughter it, grind up the meat, and make a patty? Now we've complicated it. We want to stretch things so things go so much further. There's a popular restaurant chain in the US. Well, it's actually global. Everything is processed. 100% beef means that it has 100% beef in the patty, but the patty is not 100% beef. Um, there are things in the buns that are illegal in the Philippines, but in the US, it's legal. The hot dogs, processed. The luncheon meats, highly processed. The spam, they eat a lot of spam in the Philippines. There was this one market I went in, the whole aisle was spam. It was just like I didn't know whether I was in spam heaven or spam hell. But the whole aisle, it was a short aisle, but it was all spam, and that was kind of scary. They eat a lot of canned meats here in the Philippines. Um, In you go to the produce section and you look at the tomatoes. The majority of the tomatoes are green, or green and partly red. And I tell my wife, I go, wow, in the US, each tomato is red, the same shade of red, the same size, perfect. The same with the apples, the bananas, everything looks like it came out of a copy machine. In the Philippines, the fruits, some of them have a lot of bruises on them, some of them are small, some of them are medium, but none of them are the size that we consume in the US. And then it dawns on me what I would consume in the US, majority of it was GMO. An apple is not supposed to be, 1.5 times my fist. A banana is not supposed to be almost a foot long. A tomato is not supposed to be the size of my fist. All carrots do not look alike. There's just these things that I would take for granted in the U.S. and I come here and I go, "Ooh, your produce is ugly. Your fruit is ugly." But this is the way fruit is supposed to be. This is the way fruit used to look when I was little. That fruit is fruit as long as it's not rotten. It's good. And fruit taste, or the vegetables, and I'll say all in all, the produce tastes different here, but it tastes like it's supposed to taste. Where in the U.S., most of the fruit and produce, it really doesn't have a taste. It only tastes like the seasonings that we put on it, but the fruit itself doesn't have a taste. And so I learned to appreciate food for how food was meant to be consumed here. And, I do have a regimen. I am on insulin. And so I still battle in that right. Um, but I know diabetes, it's not, I'm not condemned by diabetes. Since I learned how to eat bad, I can learn how to eat good. It didn't take me a couple of years to get to where I am today. It's not going to take a couple of years for me to improve my health. I do encourage people to read your labels, to know that soy milk contains very little soy in it, to know that 100% natural does not mean 100% naturally the way God intended. It means 100% natural to that manufacturer's specifications. Fast food, it may be fast to obtain, but it's going to stay with you for a lifetime. You need to put pressure on the food industry to give you higher quality choices. Why is it the things that are bad for you are the cheapest? They put crap in the majority of the food, so is it really a cost thing? That cup of noodles, when I was little, it was cup of noodles, no one gave it, a second thought. And now you're finding out these conditions or complications that are caused by people that consume a lot of these noodles. College kids, that it's really causing complications. Macaroni and cheese, when I was in college, that was an easy fix. You eat it, didn't think too much of it. Now you get this cheese packet, which is almost like glue. and it sits in your system like glue. And the pasta, it's not the same grade pasta. There's so many things that have changed from when I was a child, and before I had diabetes. When I was young, in a day, yeah, I would drink 6 to 8 sodas, but it was the sugar was sugar, fructose, and sucrose and corn syrup were a lot simpler then. But those were maybe the five sweeteners that were in the soda. Now there's at least 20 sweeteners in a soda. Um, Soda is not good for human consumption anymore. Um, there's so many things that are bad for us. There's so many things that we need to get back to consuming more water and check our water that we're drinking. Tap water in most places throughout the world is bad. Bottled water, is it filtered water? Is it natural spring water? Is it just coming out of someone else's tap water? Um, our animals, the things that we feed our animals, and then we eat it. There's so many things to learn that I don't have. Uh, I won't live long enough to teach everything that there is to know about, eating healthy. I do enjoy watching this video, Dr. Bobby Price. He's an African American doctor, and he tends to give advice that helps African Americans, because there is a difference in the African American diet as to the white American diet, as to the Latin American diet. There are foods that we eat as staples that are different, and that's who I like to listen to. Um, Watch what you eat. Pay attention to what your kids eat. Teach your kids how to eat healthy. Healthy. Diabetes is not a joke. It was something that when I was a child, there are a few people with diabetes. Now it seems that it's an accepted, uh, like, rite to passage in the in Americans, I will say, and now from what I've seen growing in Filipinos, and I think that a lot of that is the foods, as these large food corporations spread globally, and they teach the cost cutting uh, techniques that give people bad health. Um, Big Pharma, we need to be mindful of them, keep Big Pharma out of the food industry, and just pay attention to what you eat. Excess is death. Okay? This is Raz. You can find me on YouTube. My channel, I'm still learning at this, is Raz at Can We Talk. If you wish to email me, it's it's all lowercase, ERASBURY at yahoo.com. I'm residing in the Philippines. I am an American, and this whole video is my experience, my travels. And God bless everyone. Be very weary of what you consume, and teach your kids to eat right. Thank you.